She drove the nail until the wood split, the sharp crack echoing across the open field. She swore under her breath, pried the bent nail loose, and tossed it into the tin can at her feet. Her hands were raw, palms blistered and streaked with dirt. But she didn't pause long enough to feel it. If she stopped, the cold would settle in deeper. If she stopped, the thoughts would catch up. The shelter stood crooked and unfinished. 4 posts sunk into stubborn ground. A few uneven boards nailed across them like ribs without a chest. Broken fence planks, scraps pulled from a collapsed shed. Pieces no one else had wanted. She had dragged them here herself, one by one, telling herself that ugly was still better than nothing, that crooked could still stand. The wind cut through her coat and found every weak spot. She leaned her weight into the next board, bracing it with her knee, and raised the hammer again. Boots crunched behind her. The sound went straight through her spine. She didn't turn. She didn't have to. There was only one man who walked like that, slow, deliberate, as if the ground should make room for him out of respect. Her dead husband's brother, the one who had started appearing more often lately, always at a distance, always watching. She struck the nail, missed, struck again. "You'll freeze before morning," he said. His voice wasn't unkind. That almost made it worse. She kept her eyes on the board. "Then I'll be cold." He shifted, leather creaking, the faint jingle of spurs she wished he'd take off. "You don't need to do this." The hammer paused in midair. She lowered it slowly, her arm aching. "I do." "The house is empty," he said. "It's been empty since—" "Don't," she cut in. Silence followed, heavy and awkward. The wind rattled the loose boards above her head, reminding her how temporary this thing was, how foolish it probably looked to anyone else. She turned then, not to face him fully, but enough to acknowledge his presence. He stood a few steps away, arms loose at his sides, hat pulled low. He looked like his brother in all the ways that hurt. The same broad shoulders, the same eyes that once softened when they landed on her. Only these eyes didn't soften. They watched her like she was a problem he hadn't solved yet. "I don't belong in that house," she said. "It's still yours." She laughed, a short, sharp sound that surprised them both. "It stopped being mine the night he died in it." His jaw tightened. "That's not fair." "Neither is burying your husband and being told to be grateful. You still have a roof." He exhaled slowly, as if counting back from something dangerous. "You can't build a life out here with broken boards and stubborn pride." She turned back to the shelter. "I'm not building a life. I'm building a place to sleep." "This isn't shelter," he said. "It's punishment." She drove the nail harder than necessary. "Maybe that's what I deserve." That did it. He stepped closer. "Don't say that." "Why not?" she shot back. "Everyone else already thinks it." He stopped just behind her, close enough that she felt his presence like heat against the cold. "No one thinks that." "I do," she said quietly. The wind picked up again, tugging at her hair, snapping the loose fabric of her coat. She lifted another board, struggling to balance it alone. Her arms trembled under the weight. Before she could protest, his hands were on the other end, steadying it. She froze. "Don't," she said. "I'm just holding it. I didn't ask for help." "You didn't ask me to leave either." That hurt more than she expected. She swallowed, focusing on the board instead of the memories crowding in, the way her husband used to stand exactly like this, hand sure, smile easy, telling her to step back before she smashed her thumb again. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "I know." "Then why are you?" He didn't answer right away. The board wobbled slightly between them. "Because watching you do this feels wrong," he said finally, "and walking away feels worse." She laughed again, this time softer. "You don't get to save me." "I'm not trying to." She turned, meeting his eyes fully now. "Then what are you doing?" He looked tired suddenly, older than his years. "Trying not to lose the last piece of my brother I have left." The words stole her breath. For a moment, anger flared, sharp and instinctive. "Don't use him like that." "I'm not," he said quickly. "I miss him too." "I know you do," she replied. "But you didn't lose what I lost." He flinched. "I know." They stood there, the board still between them, the past thick and unspoken. Finally, she nodded once. "Hold it steady." He didn't smile. He didn't thank her. He just did as she asked. They worked in silence after that, falling into an uneasy rhythm. He held boards while she hammered. He adjusted posts without comment. She didn't tell him to stop. The shelter grew, imperfect but stronger, the wind cutting less sharply with each plank secured. As the light faded, her arms grew heavy, her movements slower. When she stepped back to assess their work, she let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. "It's ugly," she said. He glanced up at the shelter, then at her. "It'll stand. That's all I need." He wiped his hands on his pants. "You don't have to punish yourself to prove you're strong." She looked past him, toward the house in the distance, dark, waiting, full of echoes she wasn't ready to face. "I'm not ready to go back." "I won't push you." She hesitated, then said, "But I don't want you watching me like I'm about to disappear either." Something softened in his expression. "Then what do you want?" "Help me finish this," she said. "Then go home." "And tomorrow?" She shrugged. "Tomorrow can wait." He nodded, accepting the boundary for what it was. Together, they raised the last board as the first stars appeared overhead. The shelter stood, crooked, rough, but real. She stepped inside and listened to the wind slide harmlessly past. For the first time in months, she felt like she might make it through the night.